And if you are a facilitator, please do rename yourself with an F in front of your name.
Good morning from Saskatoon, Canada.
Morning.
Welcome. Hello, Nelly.
Hello, hi.
Hi. Would you please rename yourself?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I'm doing that now.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Welcome, Marco. We can hear you well.
Hi. Nice to see all of you.
Nice to see you too. Welcome, Sarah.
Basti, can you please on Teams explain where the interpretation instructions should be in terms of slide number? If you can let me know, I can quickly change that order right now. I wasn't checking that earlier. I was looking at WhatsApp. Thank you.
Do we need speakers to rename themselves in any way? Or are we okay with that, Basti?
Yeah, so we would ask our facilitators, please, to update your names by putting an F right in front of your name, and you can rename just by clicking on participants, and in your participant list under more, you can find next to your name the option to rename yourselves and just add an F if you're facilitating, and then also adding an indication for your language, English, French, or Spanish right next to this abbreviation, and followed by your name. Thanks, everyone. We're just going to get started in a few moments.
Yeah.
Alexa, stop.
Para los que hablan español, les pedimos por favor que se renombren. Pueden poner una SP si quieren que el idioma sea en español, para que les sean asignadas las mesas de discusión correspondientes. SP antes de su nombre. Si no ponen nada, los asignarán en mesas en inglés.
Okay, we're almost ready now to welcome everyone. So just look around and make sure that everybody who should be here is here. And if you need to text someone who is not here and needs to be here, please do so. Everyone.
En inglés.
Hello, Tessie.
Hi, Tom.
Estamos a punto de empezar, entonces solamente les queremos dar la bienvenida y les queremos recordar que si pueden tener su micrófono apagado mientras que no estén hablando, para disminuir todo el ruido que venga de internet. Además, les pedimos nuevamente que se renombren. Primero pueden poner SP para identificar que están hablando español, y después su nombre. Además, tendremos un canal de interpretación paralelo en el que pueden, en la parte de abajo, en las opciones, dice idiomas, y entonces pueden cambiar a español.
And Gabriela, please, let's ask all our participants to be patient with our interpretation, translation. We are all volunteers, and we'll be doing our best to translate and interpret as we move along.
Así es. Todos los participantes que estamos el día de hoy somos voluntarios, no hacemos los servicios de traducción de manera profesional, entonces les pedimos su paciencia en este sentido. Si tienen alguna duda, pregunta, en el chat pueden escribir todo en español o en inglés o en francés y les estaremos contestando en ese idioma.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gabriela. So we invite you just to keep your microphones muted whenever you're not speaking. And we have a very excited activity prepared for you today. So please make sure that you update your display names. And if you need any other language support in French or Spanish, just indicate that with your display name, as you can see here on our slide with the instructions. So all you need to do is just click on participants, and then in our attendee list, select your name, and then under more, you can rename your display name here on Zoom, which will help our team to assign you to the correct room with your small group. Also for our French speakers, bienvenue à tout le monde à notre session Eval for Action aujourd'hui en Zoom. Nous vous invitons à garder vos microphones désactivés lorsque vous ne parlez pas, Et pour nous permettre de vous attribuer correctement à votre petit groupe, veuillez ajouter votre préférence de langue à votre nom d'affichage ici à Zoom. Ajoutez FR pour le français. Et pour mettre à jour votre nom d'affichage, veuillez cliquer sur le bouton participant dans votre barre de navigation et déplacer votre souris sur votre nom dans la liste des participants et après sélectionner le bouton plus y cliquer sur renommer. Donc, merci beaucoup. Y para nuestros amigos españoles, por favor, para cambiar su nombre aquí en Zoom, haga clic en el botón participantes en su barra de navegación y mueva el mouse sobre su nombre en la lista de participantes y después seleccione el botón más y haga clic en cambiar nombre, nada más para indicar su preferencia para unirse a un grupo en español y agregue SP para indicar que necesita un grupo facilitado en español. Muchas gracias.
Background instructions.
So we are ready to begin and welcome everyone to the regional consultation of the Eval for Action campaign for North America. We are excited to be here today and to continue our conversation about the way evaluation can accelerate action towards the Sustainable Development Goals. So continuing to our commitment to inclusion, equity, and language justice, this consultation features inspiring speakers, breakout sessions to hear from all of you, and interpretation so we can communicate across English, Spanish, and French. We ask that if you wish to be in a breakout group later to speak only Spanish or French, to rename yourselves. So, si vous préférez faire partie d'un petit groupe où on parle français, veuillez vous renommer avec un FR devant votre nom et si desea estar en un grupo de trabajo para hablar solo español, cambie su nombre con un SP adelante de su nombre. So to get us started, I want to invite Larry Bremner, original chair of the Eval Indigenous Network, to lead us in a land acknowledgement. Larry?
Thank you, Tessie. We respectfully acknowledge that in North America, we live, work, and learn on the ceded and unceded traditional and ancestral land of Indigenous peoples. We recognize the sovereignty of the Indigenous people who have lived in kinship with and served as stewards of this land, water, and air for thousands of years. We commit to respectfully listening, learning, and collaborating as active participants in truth and reconciliation. As we all learn and engage with others today, we encourage you to ask how the discussions can lead us and the field of evaluation to better partner with Indigenous peoples. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much. It's so important for us to remember what was before and what is to come, and to see that continuity and to bring an acknowledgement of respect and context for everyone. Thank you. I now call the presidents of the Canadian Evaluation Society, the American Evaluation Association, and ACEVAL of Mexico to the podium. So Doa, over to you.
Thank you so much, Desi. Welcome everyone to the Eval for Action campaign for the North American Consultation. As some of you know me, my name is Doa Sadek. I'm the president of the Canadian Evaluation Society. So when the event organizers approached me to give a short opening speech for today's event, I was very excited, as I know that, that at CES we wholeheartedly support the goals and objectives of the Eval for Action campaign, which align very much with the CES strategic priorities and strategic plan, the current strategic plan. Eval for Action campaign aims for an influential evaluation that advances the Sustainable Development Goals. An influential evaluation is an evaluation that makes difference in people's life. A CES strategic plan reflects for the evaluation to make difference, two important things need to happen. First, evaluation needs to be based on strong capacity for it to have credibility. Second, we as a group of organizations that believe in the power of evaluation need to advocate for evaluation utilization among evaluation users. These are all what our CES strategic talks about. Of course, no one organization can do that all by itself. And that is why Eval for Action campaign is important, as it is giving us the venue to strengthen our dialogue and partnerships around these areas and indeed many more that could help us reach the goal of having an influential evaluation. On the use of evaluation to advance the Sustainable Development Goals, CES has been a very proud supporter of the International Organization for Cooperation in Evaluation, IOCE, and of the Eval Partner Initiative. We also actively participate in the Evidence Matters campaign and reconfirm the commitments to Global Evaluation Agenda, Eval Agenda.
Esa parte, ¿cómo te la vamos a comprar?
Sorry?
Sí.
Pardon. So we also at CES actively participate in the Evidence Matters campaign that confirms the commitments to the Global Evaluation Agenda and aims at maximizing innovation to evaluate the SDGs. Without much ado, I want to reiterate that CES is on board with the Eval for Action campaign, and we are happy, very happy to be part of today's consultation. I wish you all a great discussion, and I wish the organizers a very useful and successful consultation.
Thank you, Doa. And now over to you, Tom, for your welcome. Tom, you might be muted.
Thank you, Tessie. Appreciate that. On behalf of the American Evaluation Association, welcome to the North American Eval for Action Regional Consultation. We are committed to partners supporting the Eval for Action campaign to deliver Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. The SDGs are a colossal challenge for evaluation, not only because of the sprawling scale of the things, but also because ground level actors, not just managers, must be broadly engaged. And you can count on the American Evaluation Association to support your efforts. And thank you, and have a good consultation.
Thank you, Tom. And over to you, Marcia.
Thank you, dear Tessie. Buenos días a todas y a todos. Para ACEVAL, para la Academia Nacional de Evaluadores de México, es un honor ser parte de las organizaciones convocantes de esta consulta regional. Reconocemos que nos encontramos en un momento único en la historia de la humanidad, que nos llama de manera enérgica a repensar la práctica de la evaluación para fortalecerla como una herramienta sumamente potente para transformar nuestras realidades hacia contextos más seguros, más sostenibles, más equitativos y más igualitarios. Esta consulta y toda la campaña de Eval for Action es un llamado a construir un horizonte donde nadie se quede atrás y donde la evaluación influya en la toma de decisiones, donde la evaluación influya en la dirección de las acciones para hacer frente a esta pandemia, pero también para recuperarnos de esta situación, pero sobre todo para imaginarnos nuevos diseños institucionales, nuevos modelos de desarrollo que estén orientados a garantizar los derechos de las personas. En esta región diversa, como lo es nuestra América del Norte, como comunidad evaluadora tenemos una gran responsabilidad. Por ello, y con la convicción que evaluar importa, que evaluar sirve, desde Eval llamamos a tejer en colectivo, a sumar comunidad, para contar con una práctica más extendida, más útil, más adaptable y más innovadora para superar los retos que enfrentamos. Si queremos lograr resultados diferentes, debemos hacer las cosas distintas. Que sea una consulta muy buena. Saludos.
Thank you. Thank you so much for these words of welcome, all of you. We are so glad that you are here supporting and leading this regional consultation. Thank you. And now it is time to hear a few words from the founder and coordinating organizations of the Eval for Action campaign. It is my distinct pleasure to present two tireless colleagues who need no introduction, Marco Segone, Director of Evaluation at UNFPA, and Khalil Bitar, who represents Eval Youth Global. Marco, over to you.
Thank you very much, Tessie. Hi, everybody. Buenos días a todos y todas. Et bonjour à tout le monde. You can move the slides, please. So let me start with a very good news. And the good news is that the world has the Sustainable Development Goals that are the boldest global roadmap towards a sustainable and equitable world. Next slide. So the mission of the SDGs is really transforming our world by 2030. Next. To achieve the world that we all want, a world where all rights for all human beings are met everywhere at any time. And to achieve that, we should focus on those farthest behind first. Next. Unfortunately, we are not on track. If I take only 2 indicators out of the many of the SDGs, you will see that, for example, the projection says that poverty will be eradicated by 2072, and gender equality will be achieved by 2189. We cannot even think about that. I mean, several of us will not be here by that time. Next. And these projections were before 2020. They were before the COVID-19 crisis that we all know is not only a public health crisis, but is also a socioeconomic crisis, a humanitarian crisis, and a human development crisis. Without talking about inequality and about the climate crisis. So we really need to build back better, informed by evidence. Next. And that's why Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, last year launched the Decade of Action, a decade of action to accelerate the progress towards the SDGs to be able to get on track. Next. And this decade of action is really about acceleration. It's about being ambitious, about scaling up, and about accelerating the speed for interventions. But all of this should be based on evidence. Next. And that's why the campaign of A Decade of Action, or Eval for Action, was launched. Because evidence in general and evaluation in particular can really help the world to accelerate progress. Evidence tells us what works, what does not work, why, for whom, and under what circumstances. And it's always very important to remember that evaluation, if we want to achieve equality, should be equity focused and gender responsive. Next. Now, we are last week we celebrated the 1 year of Eval for Action campaign. Next. And I would like just to remind quickly what this campaign is about. First of all, let me say it's not a UN organization, but is a multi-sectoral advocacy campaign. It's aligned to the UN Decade of Action, and it promotes global commitments and coordinated actions for influential evaluation. Global meaning not only at international level, but also at national level and sub-national level, and hopefully at community level. Next. So Eval for Action was launched by 3 organizations: the United Nations Fund for Population, UNFPA, representing the United Nations family; the Global Eval Youth Network, representing young evaluators; and the Global Parliamentarian Forum for Evaluation, representing parliamentarians. So a very diverse co-leaders. But you know, in less than 1 year, 130 partners across the world joined the campaign, including obviously the organizers of today's North America consultation. But Eval for Action really belongs to everyone, and it's really about a shared ownership. Next. Next slide. So in the last year, in the last 12 months, we organized, together with all the regional VOPEs, regional consultations, so to have a participatory and inclusive process to develop regional evaluation action plans. And today we are at the 7th consultation in North America, and the evaluation torch, after having done all the regions in the world, will then go to sub-regions. And then the first sub-regions will be the sub-region of East and South Africa. Next. But in addition, we are also mobilizing the evaluation community through social media. And just a few weeks ago, we had the first tweetathon, where the evaluation torch went throughout the world in 24 hours, and where consultation and dialogue in Twitter was facilitated by all the regional VOPEs and all the regional Eval Youth chapters. Next. And that was quite a success. 14,000 tweets in more than 10 languages, with more than 700 participants from more than 80 countries. So really congratulations to everybody involved, including the organizers of today. Next. But the focus is really on action. So just in concluding, I would like to invite all of us, once again, to commit to action for influential evaluation. And in October, we will launch the Walk the Talk. That will be a series of videos where each of us can showcase the good practices of the action that each of us will have been implemented by October, so that we can learn from each other as a true community. Thank you very much. And once again, congratulations to everybody.
Thank you, Marco. And now over to Khalil.
Thank you, Tessie, and thank you, Marco. I highly appreciate your leadership of Eval for Action. We all learn from your passion and action in evaluation, enhancing the evaluation capacity and policies, supporting young and emerging evaluators, and advocating for equity-focused and gender-responsive evaluation, and much more, which also Eval for Action focuses on. And good afternoon to all colleagues. It's a great pleasure to join the American Evaluation Association, Canadian Evaluation Society, National Academy of Evaluators of Mexico, Eval Youth Mexico, and the American Evaluation Association Young and Emerging Evaluatory Group in the 7th and final regional consultation of the Decade of Action campaign, with many friends and colleagues from the region, and I see a lot of other parts of the world as well. It is now, as Marco has mentioned, 1 year since we officially launched the Eval for Action campaign, a campaign that calls upon all actors everywhere to accelerate the delivery of the SDGs by advocating for stronger evaluation capacities, evidence-based policy, and influential evaluation. Today, we are starting the 7th regional consultation, and the campaign already has approximately 130 partners from most countries and regions. Partners that really lead and shape the campaign, something we really wished for, but perhaps did not envision it will be in this speed and in this magnitude. Young and emerging evaluators and Eval Youth are integral part of Eval for Action. This is a very important point to highlight at the outset, perhaps of the consultation. To many of us in the Eval Youth network, the campaign focuses on what we see as both direly needed and inspiring, namely transformational change, genuine action, and influential evaluation. Many of us are impatient to contribute to real change through action that put particularly justice, equity, environmental sustainability at the forefront of national and global development effort, not as mere concepts to include nicely in policy papers and report, but as objectives to strive for to and work hard on achieving. This is what really Eval for Action is all about. But while young and emerging evaluators and young people in general all around the world, as you see them, are eager to make difference and bring about change, they often are not included. They're often talked about, but not really included. They don't have the right platforms and partners. We and Eval Youth are lucky. We found great partners in UNFPA and the Global Parliamentarian Forum for Evaluation, and have been fortunate to work with pioneering leaders who were first to support the youth in evaluation, if you may call it movement. In Eval for Action, we found an outstanding platform to work with many more partners who share our passion for action. I hope as you join the campaign individually or through your organization, that you will have the opportunity to build or strengthen existing partnerships with others who share the same passion as you. Eval for Action truly offers a platform for us all to work together toward an effective decade of action where evaluation is not overlooked or ignored, but significantly contributing to national, regional, and global efforts in much more prominent ways that it does today, unfortunately. Finally, I thank the organizing committee from AEA, CES, ICEVAL, Eval Youth Mexico, and EA Young and Emerging Group, as well as Tessie and Encompass team for always amazing preparation and great effort in giving us all the opportunity to connect with one another and have what I'm sure will be a great consultation. I look forward to working with all of you and for all of us to have very successful consultation and follow-up. Back to you, Tessie. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalil. Thank you so much, you and Marco, for your leadership and your tireless work, and for these inspiring words. So now it is time to pass the evaluation torch to North America as we continue in our consultation. The evaluation torch has traveled around the world and kept lit by our regional consultations around the globe. It is now time to move and pass the torch from Africa to the North America region. Today, Fazila Hossein, co-chair of Afria Eval Youth Network, brings the torch from Africa, and receiving the torch in our 3 consultation languages are Michelle Ruiz Valdez, Gabriela Renteria, and Zach Tilton. Fazila, over to you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. We from the Africa region are really excited to pass the torch to the North American region. And we wish you all the best in your consultations today and also in future. So we pass the torch to North America. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Fazila. J'ai l'honneur de recevoir la torche d'évaluación.
Recibimos la antorcha de evaluación en nombre de la región de América del Norte.
We promote evaluation that supports action toward achieving the Sustainable Development Goals.
Thank you all. The evaluation torch now lights the way for our regional consultation in North America. So now it is time to hear from our distinguished speakers, 3 from each region. And we are activating again our interpretation. When French and Spanish is spoken, select the English channel to listen to the interpretation. Lorsque l'anglais ou l'espagnol est parlé, sélectionnez la chaîne française pour écouter l'interprétation. Cuando se habla inglés o francés, seleccione el canal en español para escuchar la interpretación. And before we begin, also, I'm reminding you to rename yourselves if you would like to be in a dedicated language group, French or Spanish. Thank you. First, we will hear from our speakers from Canada. Larry Bremner, first chair of Eval Indigenous, Isabelle Bourgeois, a frequent speaker at the CES conferences, and Sarah Farina, past CES president and current treasurer of the International Organization for Cooperation and Evaluation. Larry, over to you.
Thank you, Tessie. First, I'd like to gratefully acknowledge that I live and work on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, the Cree, the Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis people, and I live on Treaty 1 territory, and I'm Métis. What I'm hoping to do today is make you think about becoming insurgent evaluators. Traditionally, historically, evaluation in Indigenous communities has been extractive, and I really believe it needs to become insurgent. Insurgent evaluation is grounded in, respects, and validates Indigenous worldviews. Insurgent evaluation uses authentic processes and methods which are determined by the Indigenous communities themselves. Its effectiveness and its use is determined by the community, and its result motivates and supports actions in the communities and for Indigenous people. As the final report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in Canada stated, reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Canadians also requires reconciliation with the natural world. If human beings resolve problems between themselves, but continue to destroy the natural world, then reconciliation remains incomplete. So what I'd like you to think about today in your discussions is what you need to change in your practice to ensure that your work regarding the SDGs and reconciliation is insurgent. Thank you, and I now invite Isabelle Bourgeois to speak.
Merci beaucoup, Larry. Le renforcement des capacités en évaluation est essentiel à l'atteinte des objectifs de développement durable. Les capacités en évaluation portent sur les compétences et les dispositifs qui permettent la réalisation d'évaluations de qualité et surtout leur utilisation. Pour que nos évaluations soient influentes, nous devons nous attarder aux capacités individuelles et organisationnelles des parties prenantes qui sont chargées des politiques locales, nationales et internationales. Il n'est pas suffisant de produire des évaluations qui établissent un lien entre nos priorités nationales et les ODD. Les résultats de ces évaluations doivent aussi faire l'objet de discussions et de considérations à tous les niveaux de la société. Je vous invite donc aujourd'hui à réfléchir aux moyens dont nous disposons collectivement pour soutenir la pensée évaluative et l'utilisation des évaluations dans les organismes que nous fréquentons, qu'il s'agisse de petits organismes communautaires ou d'institutions nationales. Ce n'est qu'en tendant la main à ces parties prenantes que nous rendrons l'évaluation véritablement influente. I will now invite my colleague, Sarah Farina, to speak.
Isabelle. Bonjour. Buenos dias. Hi, I'm Sarah Farina. I acknowledge that I'm speaking to you today from the traditional, ancestral, unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. When we talk about action and evaluation, it's a way of expressing a sense of urgency. We want evaluation to matter, to advance the SDGs, to build a more just, equitable, and inclusive world. And for that to happen, we need to take action. Globally, we're seeing a profusion of evaluation activities, organizations, and networks. It's exciting to see so much movement and energy. At the same time, as our field matures and becomes more complex, we need to consider how we maintain communication and relationships, how we navigate new and evolving systems and resources, and how we use our collective energy to bring us all forward into new possibilities. I invite you today to consider these questions. What are your core values? How can we learn together and from each other to make shifts at a systems level? What are your priorities as an individual, in the organizations you work with, and in networks across North America and internationally?
Sarah, you might have muted yourself again.
No, I'm done. Thank you, Tessie.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You left us with a question. That's
I
hard.
left you with questions for discussion today.
That is hard. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, colleagues from Canada. You always make us think on sustainability, on Indigenous, and so many important topics. Thank you. Now let us turn to the United States. Our speakers from the American Evaluation Association are Nick Hart, Chair of the Evaluation Policy Task Force of the AEA, Rodney Hobson, past president of the AEA and leader of the AEA's Graduate Education Diversity Initiative, our leadership in youth at the AEA, and Deborah Rugg, past chair of the United Nations Evaluation Group, who led the successful advocacy campaign for the UN resolution promoting evaluation for the Sustainable Development Goals in 2015. Nick, over to you.
Well, hello, everyone. Here in the United States, we are at a new moment around the topic of evaluation, particularly in our government, thanks to a law called the Foundations for Evidence-Based Policymaking Act, which was just put into place about 2 years ago. We call it the Evidence Act for short, and it's beginning to reshape really how all of our government agencies at the national level prioritize the field and the function of program evaluation. And that includes by having evaluation officers, which are senior leaders in government agencies that are intended to think about evaluation, by publishing annual evaluation plans, which are intended to share specific projects that are being evaluated with the American people and the public. And also by producing what we call multi-year learning agendas, which outline these long-term research and evaluation priorities. So the hope is that as we think more about evaluation and monitoring for SDGs, that all aspects of this enterprise within the United States can support the longer-term infrastructure. The Evidence Act is really focused broadly in the US right now on setting the stage for better capacity on all manner of evaluation activities. But I do think it provides a very sound framework and strong foundation for enhanced US involvement in supporting the SDGs going forward. And that will include some stakeholder feedback and other national planning processes, but it's a really good opportunity as we look to the years ahead. I believe, Rodney, over to you.
Outstanding, Nick. Good day, buenos dias, bonjour, greetings from East Central Illinois, USA, University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Our university land acknowledgement statement recognizes and respects Native peoples as traditional guardians of lands and the enduring relationship that exists between Native peoples and the traditional territories. I'm Rodney Hobson. I currently serve as professor of evaluation in the Department of Educational Psychology, College of Education, and interim director, Center for Culturally Responsive Evaluation and Assessment, CREA. We at CREA are an international community of scholars, practitioners on a mission to generate evidence for policymaking, methodologically, culturally, and contextually defensible. Look out for our 6th International CREA Conference held from 29 September to 1st October later this year in Chicago, Illinois. Bravo to my colleagues in evaluation who are leading this global platform to introduce a purposeful campaign of action to leave no one left behind. I challenge us, one, to recognize that language matters in evaluation so that we do not use idle words, approaches, methods that may prove ineffective or harmful, but be radically forward thinking and ensuring the culturally relevance and responsiveness, ecological sustainability toward equity of processes, results, and outcomes, and to build more pathways and pipelines into evaluation like AEA JEDI, NEA Casey Foundation, and others, especially and predominantly for communities and people underserved and underrepresented in our diverse ecosystems and nation states. Off to you, Deborah.
Thank you, Rodney, and good to see everyone again. While I normally focus in the international arena, today I'm thrilled to talk about North America, especially the United States, the country that I am in. I feel in North America, especially in the US, the accountability role of evaluation is extremely important now. National SDG evaluation is largely absent in the United States. In fact, it was by design, because in 2016, the US State Department decided that SDG evaluation, monitoring, evaluation, and reporting is largely an international issue, and the US domestic side would not engage. So it's been by design that the US has not been actively engaged in national evaluations or reporting on the SDG indicators. So I think with the new administration change, the time is now to resurrect the role of evaluation and monitoring and evaluation of the SDGs at the national level. And I would like to propose a movement to create a national SDG office with a national SDG evaluation officer.
Thank you, Deborah. Bold ideas from all of you, and we really appreciate your stimulating some very interesting conversations we're going to have in our breakouts. Thank you. And now it is my pleasure to invite our speakers from Mexico, Gabriela Perez Yarajuan, Jose Nabor Cruz Marcelo, Rosa Isabel Islas Arredondo, to address our group. Gabriela, over to you.
Muchas gracias, Tessy. Muy buenos días o tardes a todos los asistentes, donde quiera que se encuentren. Es un placer, es un verdadero placer estar con ustedes el día de hoy. Durante cerca de 2 décadas he observado un creciente interés en las nuevas generaciones por construir un mejor planeta, un anhelo por sociedades más justas y responsables, con menor desigualdad y pobreza, con mayor inclusión y solidaridad. El llamado de los ODS es el resultado de este anhelo, plasmado en 17 grandes objetivos que son una declaración de compromiso intergeneracional. En mi experiencia desde el campo de la evaluación, he tenido la gran oportunidad de trabajar con jóvenes brillantes que trabajan y colaboran con otros para transformar e influir, construyendo evidencia para mejorar la política pública. Necesitamos aprovechar la juventud y el entusiasmo que tenemos ahora. Estamos a menos de 10 años de cumplir la meta 2030, de cumplir el plazo, en una situación muy complicada social, política y económica. La pandemia global que nos aqueja presenta retos sin precedentes y el mundo que nos imaginamos requiere de la participación de todos, de nuestra capacidad, creatividad, innovación y fortaleza. Es indispensable también pensar en las respuestas a esas preguntas relevantes para la evaluación. Cómo hacerla más importante, más utilizable, más inclusiva para todas nuestras poblaciones en contextos sociales y políticos complicados en México y en América Latina en general. Los invito a todos a formar parte de este compromiso, al llamado de Eval for Action, y les deseo todo el éxito en esta consulta. Muchas gracias a todos. Y le dejo la palabra ahora a José Nabor Cruz Marcelo.
Muchas gracias, Gabriela. Muy buenos días a todas y a todos. Un gusto saludarlos desde el Coneval. Desde la experiencia de nuestra institución, en el Coneval se ha buscado, en una primera instancia, institucionalizar la evaluación como herramienta de aprendizaje y mejora continua de programas y acciones de política pública en las diferentes etapas de su ciclo de vida. En segunda instancia, impulsar instrumentos de monitoreo y evaluación que proporcionen información confiable que contribuya a la toma de decisiones basada en la evidencia, sea cual sea su enfoque. En general, ¿por qué es relevante para el Coneval como institución la evaluación dentro de sus tareas normativas? En primera instancia, una de las razones del Consejo es la evaluación. Su papel en concreto es identificar retos que requieren atención inmediata, señalar mejoras en todo el ciclo de vida de las políticas públicas y, en tercer lugar, identificar buenas prácticas que en el futuro puedan ser replicadas. Desde el quehacer del Coneval, una de las lecciones más importantes respecto a nuestra tarea normativa es hacer visible su utilidad entre los tomadores de decisiones. al insistir en que la evaluación y el monitoreo, no como una auditoría, sino que nuestro trabajo se puede sintetizar de la siguiente manera. La evaluación es aliada de los operadores de programas, en especial cuando los recursos son escasos, como lo estamos viviendo en la coyuntura actual. La evaluación informa con el fin de mejorar de manera sistemática, no califica las acciones, tampoco modifica la visión de gobierno. Su fin es ayudar a que sus logros sean visibles. Finalmente, en el marco de la consecución de los Objetivos de Desarrollo Sostenible, los ODS, la evaluación proporciona las herramientas necesarias para definir una estrategia integral, ordenada y coordinada que lleve al cumplimiento cabal de esta agenda. Muchísimas gracias. Le cedo la palabra a la doctora Rosa Isabel Islas. Gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, doctor Nabor. Muchas gracias a todos y buenas tardes también. Yo creo que la pandemia del COVID que actualmente se enfrenta en el mundo entero ha hecho más visible y palpable las grandes disparidades preexistentes en nuestros países y en algunos casos los ha incrementado. Acceso efectivo a la educación, a la salud, a un empleo digno, todos ellos trastocados más que nunca por la pandemia. Esto nos obliga a trabajar e innovar con lo que se tiene, siempre buscando lograr hacer tiros de precisión ante situaciones de escasez, entendiendo que detrás de cada uno de esos tiros hay millones de personas a las cuales les podemos ofrecer un rumbo de vida distinto que al que hoy el mundo le está ofreciendo. Sabemos que no debemos dejar a nadie atrás, debemos priorizar a los grupos más vulnerables e históricamente marginados, pero ¿cómo llegamos a ellos? Esa es la pregunta. ¿Y qué les ofrecemos dadas sus necesidades? Y aquí enfatizo como nota mental, dadas sus necesidades. No podemos seguir implementando recetas de cocina para solucionar los problemas de nuestros pueblos. Debemos poner al centro a las personas sin dejar de ver el territorio. Pensar en silos ya no es una opción. Debemos entender que todos somos engranes que debemos funcionar a la perfección para hacer caminar el motor del desarrollo y el crecimiento sostenible que requerimos. Debemos buscar entonces la coherencia de política. La evaluación nos puede ayudar a decir qué de lo que hoy tenemos va en el camino correcto. Y por camino correcto, no me refiero a saber si la política pública logrará alcanzar una meta aritmética establecida, sino si ésta tiene la concepción apropiada para la realidad de nuestros pueblos. Nos debe ayudar a saber qué de lo que hoy tenemos se comporta como engrane y cuál no, cuál tiene una visión de integralidad, universalidad e igualadora para no dejar a nadie atrás. La evaluación entonces puede convertirse en el mecánico que ayude a ajustar los engranes y que entonces el motor pueda trabajar con singular armonía, sin retrasos de velocidad y preparado para entonces sí meterle turbo para alcanzar las metas que nos propongamos en el camino. Por último, muchísimas gracias a los organizadores por haberme invitado a este tan importante evento, del cual estoy segura que saldremos con grandes aprendizajes. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias, Rosa Isabel, y gracias a todos. Thank you so much, colleagues from Mexico, from the United States, from Canada. Mille merci à tout le monde. These were inspirational words and also provocative and mixed in with some good encouragement. It makes for a nice transition for us now to our breakout groups. It is time to hear from you, our participants. And just a short reminder, we have said this before, to rename yourselves if you would like to be in a Spanish or French group. We will be in breakout groups for approximately 30 minutes. If we can go to the next slide. We will have a facilitator and a note taker who will ensure all notes from our discussions will be shared, and they will be shared with organizers, synthesized and shared back with you. So at this time, let me ask Basti to just make sure we understand what we're going to do next. Basti?
Thank you so much, Tessie. So you will be placed now into your breakout rooms shortly based on your language preference that you indicated when you renamed your display name. And if you have not changed your participant name yet, we will place you into a breakout room that will be facilitated in English language. And if you need to be moved into another room, just please click on the Ask for Help button, and our producers will be floating through the rooms to offer any support and move you as needed. En breve vamos a iniciar nuestras salas para grupos pequeños según la preferencia de idioma que indicó al cambiar el nombre aquí en Zoom, y si no ha cambiado su nombre de participante, les vamos a mover en una sala de reunión que se facilitará en inglés. Pero si necesita que los vamos a trasladar a otra sala, haga nada más clic en el botón solicitar ayuda y nuestro equipo de productores estará flotando por las salas para ofrecerle apoyo y trasladarlo según sea necesario. Vous serez bientôt placé dans vos salles de groupe selon votre préférence de langue que vous avez indiqué lors du changement de votre nom d'affichage. Si vous n'avez pas changé le nom, nous vous placerons dans une salle de groupe qui sera facilitée en anglais. Et si vous devez être déplacé dans une autre salle, veuillez cliquer sur le bouton « Demander de l'aide » et nos producteurs vous offrent un soutien et vous déplaceront selon vos besoins. So we will be sending you also some broadcast messages just to remind you of the remaining time and wish you some great discussions in our breakout rooms.
Thank you, Basti. So now let's move to the question, the main question that you are going to be discussing. So if this is the main focus of our conversation, what would be tangible actions to promote influential evaluation that contributes to accelerating progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals in North America? And you see your questions here also in French and in Spanish. They will move with you and you will have facilitators and note takers to support you. Have a good conversation and we will see you back here in approximately 30 minutes. Basti, over to you.
Thank you. So we are just going to get started with our breakouts and you will see your screen shift shortly. So our production team will just launch breakouts right now.
So
We are now in breakout groups. So if you have been left behind and want to join a breakout group, click on the 3 dots at the bottom of your screen that say more and say join breakout room. Select that option. So that's why there's no sound. We're not actually actively discussing here in plenary. You need to join a breakout group.
Hi, Basti. Hi, Mariam.
Hello, yes.
Can I be assigned to a new room?
Yes. You want a Spanish room. Okay. Will do.
Please, thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. I see gradually people are coming back. And as we do, I just want to encourage facilitators, note takers to place entries into Mentimeter. Happy to welcome everybody back. Welcome back, everyone. And facilitators, note takers, please add your entries into Mentimeter so we can see what you have said. Welcome back, everyone. I see everyone's coming back. So as we have been together in these breakout groups, our note takers and facilitators have been also capturing some of the conversations and placing them into Mentimeter. And we want to hear from a few of you. We don't have time for many, but we also want to see some of the entries that you have placed. So, all right. So first, let me ask Amshika Amar to tell us, give us 3 highlights. You won't be able to recount everything, but what are 3 highlights from the discussion in your group?
Thank you. And in our group, we had a very rich discussion. And I think there were 3 things that, 3 points that I would like to make is that in terms of, when we talk about SDGs, we usually talk about in a very international perspective. So I think obviously we're talking about role of America and sort of promoting and, achieving SDGs and also having influential evaluation in the same area. But then the focus should also be on communities. So, trying to convince communities, engaging more with communities, that how SDGs can really be helpful, in impacting their lives. So the focus of, irrespective of the fact that we have an international perspective and also a national perspective in terms of North America achieving it, but a perspective, there needs to be a shift in perspective to communities and sort of engaging with them more and communicating and convincing them more on how SDGs can influence their lives and having evaluations which are community based. Then we spoke about funding that, there's obviously, sort of more, there needs to be more communication being done in terms of attracting more funding to do these influential evaluation, because obviously, as we know, who've been evaluation, they turn to run into huge numbers. Then also we spoke about how one of the members who works for a government agency and is working on an evaluation, and how she was talking about how the government resources, especially in terms of in these times of COVID, are very strained, and how we can sort of do relevant evaluation during these times. Then we also spoke about vulnerable communities and engaging more with vulnerable communities, and then how, and in terms of what an influential evaluation really means. I mean, to me, it means impacting lives, or, coming up with policy recommendations which can actually impact lives, but it can mean something else depending on the evaluation to different groups of people. Then we also spoke about stakeholders should not only be governments, but because we were talking a lot about communities, our stakeholders should also be community. So these were the points that came out in our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Amshika. Thank you. Really wonderful. And please take a moment to read some of the other entries that of different things that have been highlighted as important for regional priorities. And of course, important for local action. Every action, every commitment to action is welcome here. It's not about choosing what everyone's going to do. It's about understanding what is the range of possibilities and issues that we want to address. So let me ask Valeria to share with us in Spanish some of the highlights from your conversation.
Hola, muy buenas tardes a todos. Bueno, en nuestro grupo de discusión se habló de diferentes puntos muy interesantes, pero considero que algunos de los más interesantes podrían ser que los gobiernos se comprometan a dirigir políticas públicas que se encaminen a alcanzar los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, ya que se comentaba en el grupo de discusión que con cada nueva administración de gobiernos en diversos países se cambian estos objetivos, este objetivo en común por alcanzar la Agenda 2030.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, Valeria. And now let me also ask Olivia to share your conversation, your highlights.
Oui, alors on a parlé beaucoup d'un manque de communication entre, ben surtout, souvent ce qu'on va remarquer, c'est que oui, au Canada, on parle des objectifs de développement durable, mais quand on vient au niveau plus provincial, même communautaire, municipal, le lien n'est pas là. Alors, on pensait que ce serait très important de trouver une façon d'avoir accès à ces canaux de communication, de développer plus au niveau local, communautaire, et pour ensuite relier le tout. Et aussi, comment nous, en tant qu'individus, de ramener ça dans nos organismes, c'est quoi les actions concrètes qu'on peut prendre. On a parlé de démontrer au niveau communautaire, disons qu'on travaille dans la communauté, des façons d'évaluer l'impact et de trouver des façons tangibles de le faire. Merci.
Merci, merci, Olivia. Thank you so much. Very exciting to see all of this. And thank you to our organizers who are going to collect all of it and share it back with the community and let us know exactly how that will happen. So very, very excited to hear that. So now I would like to invite first the organizers to to share a few thoughts with us. So Maria, over to you.
I'm actually going to pass it to Evan.
Thanks, Maria. Yeah, so I'm just going to give some thanks and acknowledgements here because there's a lot of people to thank. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the facilitators. They have played such a crucial role in today's event. For example, I think at this point in the pandemic, we've all found ourselves in an online breakout room where there are no clear roles. Nobody knows what to do or where to start. It gets pretty awkward and it's pretty unproductive. So today we're happy to have avoided that. And facilitators, you've really added to the success of this event and you are greatly appreciated. Another big thanks to the VOPE leaders, the regional speakers, international speakers, everyone who spoke at the front end of the event. You all made us feel welcomed and generously shared with us your expertise and ideas. We would not have had as rich and informed discussions without you. And finally, a huge thanks to everyone who attended today. Considering this is an event for identifying regional priorities, we certainly need input from a range of stakeholders from North America and also from other regions, as Eval for Action is a global effort after all. So each and every person, you have all helped to provide that input here and we are grateful for it. Thank you. We also encourage you all to stay engaged and keep adding your voice to this matter because today's event is really just a starting point for our region. And Maria is going to tell you a little more about that. So over to you, Maria.
Thank you, Evan. Today has been an opportunity to set our region up for a number of actions and initiatives. The notes from today's consultation will be analyzed to develop a summary of priorities and potential actions for our region. These results will be shared publicly. We'll also be presenting at the Canadian Evaluation Society Conference that is being held online on May 9th to the 14th, and we invite you all to attend. However, there's also work of then actually acting on the priorities and actions that we identified today. How exactly we do that is not 100% clear, and it will be part of figuring things out as we move forward. The larger Eval for Action community will certainly play a role. There is currently no North American Eval Youth chapter, but a growing number of folks in North America are looking to change that. For those that are not familiar with Eval Youth, it is a global multi-stakeholder partnership and network that supports and promotes young emerging evaluators and youth-led accountability around the world. If a North American Eval Youth chapter is established, an inaugural action could be to help carry forward the actions and priorities from today's event. So stay tuned, and if you'd like to continue playing a role in this campaign, please keep up to date with the Eval for Action going forward. You can visit their website, which is regularly updated. They have a newsletter, and there's conversations happening on Twitter and other social media. Please reach out to the people that you've met through today's event and continue having these important discussions.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you both. I'm always amazed at what Eval Youth does. You all are leading the way, and we're so glad to have you at the helm of the Eval for Action campaign. Thank you. And now, just for a few final remarks, let me turn it over to Marco and Khalil once again. Marco.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just two highlights. Well, first of all, also from my side, really to thanks so much the organizers for the for this consultation. So AEA, CES, Eval, and then the young evaluator from the American Evaluation Association and Eval Youth Mexico. Well, of course, I mean, thanks a lot also Tessie and Encompass for the great facilitation. I would say not only for this specific consultation, but for all the 7 regional consultation that has been really amazing. Of course, thanks a lot to all the facilitators, presenters, translators, and all the participants. And allow me also to thank Khalil Bitar, the great Eval Youth chair of the Global Eval Youth Network, and also Honorable Kabir Hashim, the chair of the Global Parliamentarian Forum for Evaluation, that they have been 2 super excellent, really co-leaders of this Eval for Action campaign. Now, the second key takeaway message would be just a wow. Wow, so many great ideas. I mean, that's really, unbelievable. Now, the challenge is to move from ideas to action. And once again, we can learn from each other. Asia Pacific has been the first region conducting a regional consultation, and they came up with a regional plan of action and even a regional strategy for evaluation. So just to say that, that there is this opportunity of cross-learning among region. And Azela Kalugan-Pitia, who is the Eval for Action global facilitator, would be also available if there is any need for that. But, respectfully, if there will be a regional plan of action, I think that it's really up to each of us really to commit and to take action, leveraging your own skills, knowledge, passion, values, and to take actions and then to showcase it in this Walk the Talk initiative in October, because that will be another opportunity for learning from each other. Regional consultations are very important, but very often very good things happens also in the neighbor regions, and we are not even aware of. So just to conclude, once again, thanks a lot, everybody. And it's really an invitation for each of us to take action, leveraging our own diversity, because that's the richness of the Eval for Action is really about valuing the diversity and the inclusiveness, and then by sharing the experience with everybody else. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco. And over to you, Khalil.
Thank you, Tessie. And thanks everyone for the great points. One thing that I find all the time attending different regional chapters that although people change and we have different people speaking, but the agenda and the points are very similar. It's surprising and not surprising perhaps, but when you hear from North America or Asia, there are differences, but also there are so many common things. I see a lot about the partnership that is very important, the role of youth. But I think one takeaway for me from this regional consultation, and something that I've been observing over the pandemic, that the whole notion of developed and developing countries is going away. It's unprivileged and privileged people in same countries. So we saw that with the vaccine, we saw that with everything. So I think the SDGs, in my perspective, at least how I understand it, could be a very good tool in the hands of evaluators, evaluation activists in developed countries to use to advocate for the disadvantaged and really secluded people. So as a tool, and you'll see that in the policy sometimes they say, oh, this is international, global, and we have our own policy. And then yes, lower taxes and better policies for multinational companies, and the poor everywhere lose. So that's one thing I think it's hopefully the SDGs will be understood this way. And I think many of you mentioned that. And the third observation is that in every regional consultation we have like this, always there are very, very good initiatives after that. Not necessarily that everybody will do, but hopefully they're good initiatives. I really like, for example, what Deborah suggested about the SDG office. Such initiatives we saw, like, for example, in Asia Pacific with the communication hub. Those are the things that work. And between you and I, if youth are part of them, they they're much more successful. So I see a lot of youth who are supportive. And just final words of thanks, especially that I am stopping chair as a chair of Eval Youth, and we have a new management group, and also from North America we have 2 representatives of our management group. I want to thank our colleagues, especially the youth in the organizing committee, Gabriella, Zach, but also all colleagues from AEA, CS, Eval, and the other organizers. Tessie has been amazing always in all the sessions, and also Bastian and Encompass team, and the UNFPA team that has been doing a lot of magic in preparation, and also Twitter, so you can retweet as well from that. And thanks to the facilitators and the speakers and the attendants. It was a pleasure being with you, and I look forward for the future activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalil and Marco. And with these inspiring words and words of connection and possibility, we are now at the close of our North America Regional Consultation for the Eval for Action campaign. Thank you all for participating, and we look forward to continuing this journey together. Thank you.
Muchas gracias a todos y a todos.
Thank you, Tessie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gracias and merci.
Hey everyone. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias a Messi.
Gracias a todos.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Gracias a todos.
Merci, gracias.
Asante sana.
Thank you all.